Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. We're gonna call the meeting to order. So first, we're gonna do a roll call. Here. Here.
Mrs. Lamont here, Mrs. Grove here, Mr. Medina
Here.
Mrs. Bergman here, and Mrs. Sherman here.
Thank you. So now we're gonna say pledge allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Good job, kids. Nice and loud.
Now we're gonna have our introduction of guests.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. Thankfully, one day before it gets really cold out there. This is an exciting night for us because we're honoring two different groups of people. We're going to recognize our 6th, 7th, 8th grade, or 6th and 7th grade girls basketball team from Findlay Junior High, as well as our first trimester academic achievement awards. So we're really excited. I'm going to ask that Coach Julie Bump come on up here. Coach Bump is our 6th and 7th grade girls coach. And if you've ever been in these meetings before, she spends a lot of time here because the teams just keep winning over and over again. And so we wanted to recognize not only her, we've got the trophy to add, but they went 12-1 this season. They won the North Division, right? Okay. And so she is going to recognize the players who are going to ask when you're called to come on up, and then we'll take a picture at the end. So I'll hand it over to her.
All right, I know everyone's here for the straight A's, so we'll get this moving pretty fast. But first and foremost, I do want to thank the best fans in the conference, our Findlay parents. I appreciate you guys. I know your daughters appreciate you. They may not tell you, but they do appreciate you coming every day. We always had the parents. I mean, sometimes I was riding the bus home by myself. But we always had the parents there cheering us on. And I really want to thank you guys for not criticizing my coaching or yelling at me or saying, it's very nice to know that the parents support not only the girls, but just Findlay in general. So I think we should all give our parents the round of applause. We really makes it fun, it makes it easy when you have such support like we do. And every year I say the same thing, our parents are second to none, so thank you. As far as the team, well, our 7th graders do not really know how to lose. Last year we were 12-1, this year we are 11-2. So these 7th graders that are on the team this year, in their 2 years of playing at Findlay are 23-3. That's pretty impressive. Now, this group of girls, we went 11-2 this year. I don't think anyone expected us to do that. We had a lot of girls who never played basketball before. This was their first go around, and you would never know it. No matter what, if they started, if they subbed in, they always, I mean, it was like rapids abandoned. So it was incredible. I'm excited to see the 7th graders move on to 8th grade, and I'm really excited to see the 6th grade group next year. I think we're definitely going to be a contender again. So let's get our 7th graders up here. We have Kristen Robinson. Olivia Dominic. I don't know, Gina Samara, Sugar, Maya Costa. Or Sam. A woman in the middle, a rebounder. Rahaf Ibrahim. Natalia. Yeah, butcher this. Natalia. And then our 6th graders are newcomers to Findlay. You wouldn't know it by how they played. We got Violet Bogard. Shireen Jaber, our defensive specialist. This girl is something name over here and smartly. Gracie Rodriguez, Pumpkin Nails. Milani Ortega. LZ Sarka came out of nowhere. And Victoria Santiago. So everyone's really proud of you guys. We had a great year. You guys worked hard. Make sure that we practice all year round and can't wait for next year. Thank you.
And while Ms. Bog's going up there, I'd just like to say, thank you to Ms. Bog for all of her endless hours of work and helping, coach these girls up every year. They're very blessed to have a great coach in Ms. Bog, and congratulations to her and obviously the girls again.
All right, we are gonna now move on to our academic awards this evening. We're gonna start with Finley Junior High. So I'm gonna turn it over to Mrs. Bazian so that she can read out the names.
We're gonna, sorry, we're gonna start with the 8th graders. I have Nabil Baktrouf. I have Liliana Demaro. Jaden Hernandez. And Jane Mana. That's it for 8th grade, 7th grade as well. And for our 7th graders, we have Arslan Ultimathi. Stella Butcher. Crystal Cortez Martinez. Olivia Dominic. Henning Jaber. Isabella Camosa. Naima Lowry Jackson. Logan Melgoza. And Adam Rajashevsky. That is ours.
Yeah, why don't we take a picture?
Take a picture and then we'll take. Perfect.
Yes. Next. You got it? You good? Okay.
All right, and now for our 6th grade students, Kareem Abdullah.
Dana Abu Haraya. Rancy Ahmed. Mawad Ali. Amir El Salahi. Lena Awad. Lean Awad. Amelia Bezorska. Violet Bogard. And Mariah Brooks. Manuel Scheidez. Mavis Egan. Zachariah Falah. Zadra Katab. Lujane Kataba. Ryan Medell. Amir Mana. Anissa Mohammed. Ayman Mutanya. Ava Orlando. Leslie Pelachekos. Gracie Rodriguez. Adrian Urquizo. Ramus Wali. Last but not least, Tamala Zubi. All right, we'll go ahead and kind of squeeze in for a picture here. Students, before you dismiss, make sure you grab your treats from the cart over here in the bags.
I'm just getting closer. Would they still? Yeah. Yeah.
I said, you know, I'm on the orange now.
Yeah.
The first time I went down. I went down, I was like, dropping off on Friday morning, but the orange one, so I figured out how to put it straight in. Because it, I was like, actually like, okay, things are kind of programs, you know, to go see if you want to look at something, you know, specific, so.
Next, we're gonna ask Ridge Long to come on down to the microphone.
Yeah.
I never have time,
Yeah, I got to do
but if I was there on Friday, I
Yeah.
could go.
We can make them- they're doing like Stephen, I'm concerned about the- My job is to do that.
Some microphone issues, but I've never been to any quiet person, so we'll be able to move forward. Right? So we are I will say that this is Mrs. Carnival Building Principal. So we are here to recognize some of our fourth and fifth grade students for receiving grade A's this year. We are very proud of the hard work that they've done. I prefer this. So our fourth grade, we have one first student, I know I saw her, so we'd like to recognize the Fiona Ball. How long you stay?
I'm just gonna go.
And they were.
All right, our last school of the evening, we are gonna have Ridge Central recognized. So I'm gonna pass it over to Dr. King and Mrs. Geyer.
We're gonna start with our fifth graders, Sawyer Brush. Ellie Zeiger. Emily DeLugie. Maddox Moy. And now our fifth grader, or fourth grader, sorry, Maximiliano Enriquez. Alexander Acosta. Owen Hens. Yazin Melhem. Martina Brusnick. Mahmoud Albasti. Benjamin Domenia. Layla Howard. Nathan Miatus. Obeda Abushara. Tariq Khalil. Alexander Oka. And Amelia Zagata. That's fine.
Whenever you want to congratulate them. One more time, I would like to congratulate all of our students for their great work in the first trimester. I hope you'll continue to work just as hard and we'll see you back here hopefully in the spring. You are more than welcome to stay for the rest of our board meeting tonight, but if you want to go home and enjoy time as a family, now would be a good time to do that. Have a wonderful night and a great winter break. Thank you. Yes, I'm good. Thank you. How you doing?
I have a son in 7th grade,
Okay.
Isaac Okan. He got the high honor roll, but he never received an invitation.
You'll have to check first thing tomorrow.
Well, I mean, he got the papers already. Really, all he wants is a bag of candy.
Okay, all right. Yeah,
If
you can
that's
definitely
okay.
take a bag of candy. Yeah. Mrs. Basie, right there, you can talk to. Yeah. All right, so next on our awards and recognition was supposed to be the Lions Club coming for the peace poster today. However, they were not able to make it, so we are going to reschedule that for January. So they'll be here for the January 14th meeting. Next, we wanted to move into 3.0, which is donations to the district. And we have two. The second one, which is 3.2, is one that we typically approve every single year. And that is for our PTA, they do the grants. So that is our 3.2 that we're going to ask you to approve. And I'm just going to hold off. I don't know if you guys can hear me at all, so I'm just going to hold off for a second. It won't turn on anyways. What? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and talk for 3.0, which is donations to the district. Our first one, which is 3.1, is a potential board action to accept a rug donation from Mr. Anthony Medina and Miss Karen Mahia with a value greater than $500 per board policy. This is for a classroom rug that I believe Mr. Medina had from work and could not have worked out at a better time for us. We just went through our health, life, safety, and we had one rug that got cited for not being up to fire code, and it was a very nice looking rug. The classroom looked great, but so this is going to work out perfect. We're going to be able to slide that right back in there. So we really appreciate Mr. Medina and Miss Mahia. I didn't know if you wanted to say anything, Mr. Medina, or okay, all right. But we really appreciate you thinking about us for that, and I'm recommending the board approve that. So if
Okay, thank you.
I'll second.
Mrs. Levinson.
Aye.
Mrs. Grow, Mrs. Medina. Mrs. Lamb. Aye. Mrs. Schroeder. Aye. Mrs. Bergen. Aye. And Mrs. Petrov.
Aye. 13.2.
3.2, yeah, it's another, potential board action to accept a donation from the Chicago Ridge School District 127.5 PTA. I put in the notes that from the year 2018, the PTA has provided grants for our staff. The staff will be writing and presenting those grants in January to the PTA, and it's for a various amount of things. One of the biggest ones lately has been field trips and trying to keep that cost down for our families so that more students can go. And it's the bus cost that is driving those because going to Brookfield Zoo is usually free, going to a lot of other places free, but the bus cost ends up sometimes being at $15-20 per kid. So one of the ways that they offer the grants is to pay for half that bus so our kids can go. We've also, before the district started putting flexible seating in the classrooms, they would provide flexible seating if it was asked, indoor and outdoor recess equipment that we wouldn't typically purchase. So it's been a really nice program. We can't tell you what the exact amount would be. We do know it will be over $500, but it really depends on how many people apply for these grants and the PTA votes on it and approves it. So I would recommend that we go ahead and approve this.
Looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
Mrs. Grove. Aye. Mrs. Bergen. Aye. Mrs. Schroeder. Aye. Mr. Medina. Aye. Mrs. Lamb. Aye. Mrs. Bosley.
Aye.
Mrs. Petrov.
Aye. 4.0. You got that one right?
Yes, you're good.
Approval of the consent agenda.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you.
Second. Aye. Mr. Medina on the second. Mr. Medina. Mrs. Lamb.
Aye.
Mrs. Schroeder. Aye. Mrs. Grove. Aye. Mrs. Bosley.
Aye.
Mrs. Bergen. Aye. Mrs. Petrov.
Aye. 5.0 superintendent report.
Yes, well, welcome everyone. It's nice to be able to hear everybody now. This is one of those times in the year where you can tell students are getting really excited as winter break's coming. Educators are getting a little tired, but still kicking and keep going. And it's nights like tonight when you get to see all of our families and our kids in academics and athletics. That really makes you remember why you get to do this and just makes for a nice start to the evening. If you look at our district reports, you'll see that we had a lot going on in November. We talked before about Staley the Bear visiting Central with all of his dance moves. For the junior high, we had the Student Senate over at Prairie, where usually about 10 of our students get to go over there and participate with 10 kids from every single school in the conference and just talk about leadership and things they can do to better their schools. We also had the Veterans Day assemblies and putting the flags all over, and it's just a nice day to remember why we have a celebration for them inside school. And then Ridge Lawn, this happened at all buildings. Hopefully you saw some of it on social media, but Cops and Kids is something we have going on with Detective Sloan and the Chicago Ridge Police Department, where each month, each school is recognizing a student who, again, maybe isn't doing something straight A's or in NJHS, but is just doing something good and has maybe had some adversity in their life, and we're seeing them get through that and do really good things here. So that's something that's really nice. We had a really good turnout from the police department, and they get a gift certificate to Dunkin' Donuts. They thought it was a pretty nice play on the Cops and Donuts thing. So I'm really excited to see. Detective Sloan got a really nice message from one of the moms, just saying like they'll never know how much that meant to the kid who's been going through these things and the family. And so it's just that it was a really nice program to be able to partner with them on. Our enrollment report continues to go up. It's slowly trickling up. We're up to 1,498 students this month, which is, I believe, 4 higher than last month and 42 higher than last time. This year last time. So we're continuing to see that increase. We'll continue to keep the board updated. Again, most of the classrooms, the ones who have been high are still high, but because it's spread out, the new students coming in lately haven't had much of an impact. We have a couple grade levels we continue to watch just in case they come there. Our PTA report, we had a nice successful book fair. I know some of you got to walk around in the book fair for the conferences on that first night. They also have the holiday store going on. I know I let the board know that before. For those of you who grew up with like Secret Santa going to the schools, it's very similar. We are also going to have the same thing during Ramadan for our students. So the kids will get a chance to buy things all the time. So parents will be real happy for that
That's
stuff to come
wonderful.
home.
Say there was items that were 25 cents.
Yes,
and little
yes.
things, and it's nice to have them have that autonomy to pick something. I sometimes just take my kids to the dollar store, so it's even better. It's a quarter store.
Yes. So I've heard good things. The kids are excited about the stuff that's there. So vacant positions and possible staffing needs has not changed over the last couple of months. Our big one is still junior high special education. That is our big one that we are still looking for. We have a couple other EL positions we are looking. We continue to post and repost on different websites and try to advertise that. But we're seeing very similar positions to the other schools in the area, unfortunately. 5.5 is winter break. It's coming really, really fast. Our winter break will be December 23rd through January 5th, 2025. The district office will be closed from 12/24, which is Christmas Eve, through New Year's Day. And then after that, it will be open from 8 a.m. till 3 p.m. on the 2nd and the 3rd. Then we have a Teacher Institute Day on January 6th, which I believe Mrs. Nothnagel is going to address. And then school resumes with all of our students on January 7th. And then 5.6, this is very appropriate with the weather that's coming the next 2 days. We're not supposed to get snow, but I've heard as low as -20 wind chills over on Thursday. Obviously, we would not close school for that. But just a reminder that 2023 in August, we did approve the e-learning days once again.
We obviously don't want to just go to that because we have them, but it is a good option for us to have when the inclement weather comes. And I did send, I think the week before Thanksgiving out my inclement weather, just a reminder to everyone of what our policy is. Any questions on my first 6 items? All right, 5.7 is our annual conference review. We were lucky enough to have 5 out of our 7 board members attend the conference. And I know some of you threw in notes. I knew some of you have some things you want to touch base on. I would love to start by just saying I thought our opening general session on Saturday on trust building was the best I've seen. That was my 5th conference with the 1 year of COVID being closed down, and by far the best general session I've seen. I did grab both of David Horsager's books, and I'm reading these currently. I would love to do a book study with the board when I figure out which one makes most sense for a board to do. They're both very good and very interesting, so we'll definitely let anyone read them who wants to, but to actually look at it as a board, I think that would be a nice thing to do. But I wanted to open it up for the board. I know we went to lots of different sessions. You don't have to talk if you don't want to, but if you had one that you said, you know, I think I want to bring this to everyone and maybe we can look into it a little bit more, I'd love to open the floor up for that.
Well, I'll start it off. I love to talk. I had 2 of them that I really liked. The one was about press and putting out press release, and it was about the fact that you don't have to have a staff press person, that you could do it within the board and within the superintendent. And they gave a lot of fantastic ideas how to communicate with the town for the stakeholders who don't have children and things that matter. They talked about putting out a newspaper and possibly having a club of kids who help it or making it part of an English class. It's a simple program. I've used it before. I know that there is a place in Palos that does newspapers, and they don't do mailers like that all the time. They talked about their strategic plan and they had a similar pamphlet that we did. I think they worked with the same person, and they said that they felt like it didn't give the information that they wanted to show first. So it would be a way, they talked about ways to put information out to the whole village that would show them the great things that are happening. And instead of just putting like student picture awards on the front, we put data and things that are showing our growth, because a lot of people just look at the fronts, and then maybe put the features on the inside where people will go in, but that front would really kind of emphasize some of the positive learning improvements that we've been doing across the board, the new curriculum director with EL things going on. I thought they gave a lot of great ideas, and I thought that we could maybe and come together and think about it. The other one that I went to that I also thought was a great idea, and I don't know how it would be incorporated, but it is the Parent Engagement Institute, and they have a grant basically that you would get. And it sponsors parents coming in, and they're trained, and they get a small stipend of sort, and they're like teacher helpers. And so they would assist the teacher in the classroom with some things. It seemed to be grammar school. Parents wouldn't be in their own child's classroom, but it was like almost like a reading buddy. That's what it was coined as, but there were more things to it. And a lot of the parents who get involved in it actually through this program can train to become a paraprofessional and sometimes come back to the building and work there. So it's like a 15-hour training session. And then there's ongoing training. So it is basically this institute, this program. They had one great parent at their district who kind of spearheaded it, and she was their supervisor. So she kind of was the go-to person. I had all the questions that any teacher person would have, which is like, is it one more person the teacher has to take care of? And then the teacher has to teach them. And they said, no, hopefully it's, you know, a team building. And they really kind of, the kids like that someone's parent is in there, and it gives just an extra set of hands or whatever during times. And, you know, it could be reading, it could be helping a kid with a question or whatever. I thought it was just a great idea to have more parent engagement. You know, we have a lot of EL parents who could help teachers who maybe can't bridge certain gaps in the classroom. I just thought it was a really great way to get the community involved. It is only for parents. So like grandparents, aunts and uncles, I feel like there's some way to do it, but it generally is for parents. It provides pathways for them to, you know, get a sub license to become a para. And it is run through a grant, which I thought was an interesting thing. They often did like workshops and stuff, and like they would have like the parents could get trained for CPR. So then you would have maybe 20 more people in the building who were CPR certified They had a lot of things they just ran programs and stuff at the school, and I thought it would be something to look into, if it's
Yeah,
free,
yeah.
and if it's a way to get our parents involved in the school. And I did ask like, okay, well, what about background checks and
Mhm.
all that, and that's, everything is done that would be done to anyone who would come
Yeah.
in the building. I thought it would be worth looking into. I don't know if it's something that the board thinks is a good idea, but I always think it's great. I think we have a lot of parents who come to engagement nights, and, maybe there are some who could spare a couple hours in the morning or a couple hours in the afternoon, and who would want to do this and make a little bit of extra money, but also give back to the community in a productive way, and then maybe improve their own education and lead themselves into a career of
Yeah.
some sort, like outside of the home, or like it's something different. So I found it to be extremely interesting. So that was the two that I really thought were great. I also enjoyed the keynote as well. I thought he was very interesting. So that's it.
Thank you.
What's it after your EL? I went to what school members should know about English learners session. I took a few notes that really kind of struck me. One of the things they touched on is that you need to look into students and the assessments through a bilingual lens. What or how are they doing in their native language? Have conversations with parents, I'm sure everybody does. But it said that some ELs, they mentioned, in their schools, some of the EL students need IEPs as well as EL, but it gets lost in the cracks. So they're saying to work with a bilingual school psychologist for evaluations as well. That was the EL one. The one I really liked was The Art of School Boarding. There's a book I want to get. I found it for $5. But this guy was really good, Jim something, and he just kind of touched on the fact that, we're here to change and improve. School board members are not here to manage, they're here to govern. And just kind of, he went through a few things, like if we're approached by someone in the community, he really emphasized the chain of commands, because if the chain is broken, the trust is broken. I have a lot more notes, but I just wanted to touch on that quickly. I did also want to do, like, with our school motto, go back to refreshers with those, like every meeting or something, bring up another, what is it, 12 of them? I think,
For your
Well,
school
good.
motto. Are you
Mission
talking the strategic
statement.
plan?
no, the school motto, mission
We have the
statement.
vision and
Yeah.
yeah.
Should refresh those.
Maybe say how we're working on it in the building. That would be
Yeah.
a nice piece of feedback.
And then to Google productivity tools, I love that one, that's the one we went to last time. Actually, when I talked to Megan, I think I told you about, Calendly, Google Screencast, got built-in translations, Google Sheets, pivot tables, are all good resources on Google, and I think Mac, is it Apple? Apple and Google are different, right?
Yes.
They have similar apps or
Yep.
whatever between the two that kind of work in the same way. And then, Caroline was at the Building Collaborative Partnerships in the community. Where, yeah, we didn't see it. Oh, that's why. We talked about mental health. Yeah, parents need to support resources. They have a National Alliance on Mental Illness. Meet with local mental health board to get collaboration, assistance, and resources. And they also mentioned that care for our students should be beyond the age of 18. That's my questions.
Really cool place, it was from Crystal Lake, so
Yeah.
great. That they worked with, it was like started by a parent in the community, just like a place where teens can hang out. Then they started to partner with the school, and so now they have it as like an alternative for out of school suspensions, like instead of staying home, because like parents aren't always at home, they can go there and work on school stuff, and then also they have like something from now, like mental health person to talk to them, and like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the buildings do offer in-school suspension, and I know that the administrative staff processes, so there's a lot of, I know that we get updates when there's out of school, but we do have multiple in schools to like accommodate that, and I know specifically like that there's a lot of processing that goes on with Julie and Jeff. I don't know that there's many as a grammar school, but the junior high, lots of fun.
And you were asking about something in Chicago Ridge, when John's Way was originally started, that's what they really tried to look for. They had looked at the place next to Jack and Pat's to possibly add it, but it is very cost prohibitive to have something like it. They were trying to find a place that the
They
kids
looked at
could
the
go.
park
Yeah,
building
the
too, the teen-
park building,
the teen
yeah, the
center.
teen center. So I know it's been looked at, and I know that it may have gone financially and things like that. But John's Way, that was one of the things that they were trying
How
to
do
do.
you get funded, like, how do you run this? And that it's all like grants and stuff.
Mhm.
that they finance it.
I went to, on Friday, I went to, information on IMR. Cause you know, we hear about tier 1, tier 2 and all the other tech stuff, and we don't get it until the dude from IMRF is up there with like the best PowerPoint presentation ever. I'm like, oh my God, now I know why people don't want teachers to go in IMRF #2 in comparison, because like he showed like, literally, this is what happens when you do this, this is what happens in talk. Now, it was my first real exposure to it, so I was like, okay, I didn't understand it, but it was like, wow, and knowing that he was very, very candid about how probably he tier 2 is, which was, I found kind of interesting. He really knew his thing and was talking about the things that they're trying to do to go back and fix it, which I thought was pretty cool. The one that I really liked, besides of course that keynote speaker, was the one I went to, and it was called, I had to pull it up, Developing a Sustainable Teacher Apprenticeship. It was in the carousel of panels. It was amazing to me. The problem, well, I should say the problem, the thing is that I believe the Oswego school district that does it is K-12.
Mhm.
So they literally have paired up with, I think it is Aurora University, and they have an apprentice program built into their school where they bring these people in and they start moving them through, and they know how many people are going to retire. And they know what this is, and they have them, and they like literally have them trained so that when that person retires, you now have an EL teacher on board and everything, and their staff in their schools actually are able to do the classes and be the teachers for the people who are there. So you're already like seeing if these students or adult people are like compatible with your district. They can do that, and they've only had one person so far that had to be removed from the program. And they're like in their first section of people like coming through this apprenticeship program, which I was like, oh, I had the information, I forgot to grab it on my way out, but I was like, I just don't know if it's doable here or if it's something that's doable within like the Eisenhower Cooperative.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I looked at it doing it that way as opposed to one, we're like a small district, because I think, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Oswego was like
Yeah.
K
Very
through
large,
12, like
yeah.
7, 12 buildings or something like that. So
Yeah.
it's a little bit different. We've got to.
Yeah, and it is a little more difficult when you're not through 12th grade.
Yeah.
But like even today in our admin meeting, we were talking, we had talked with a college just about getting speech interns. And we said, yes, every single principal said, please sign us up. Because even if we only get 1 out of 7 who we want, if we can get one person from that, that's definitely worth it. And it is, it's talking with the high school, and not everyone who's in high school wants to be a high school teacher. So it's making sure that they know if they have people that, hey, we're still here. And we've been lucky enough to hire lots of former students over the last few years in our district. Thank you. Tony, you got anything?
Most of the ones that I went to were about marketing.
Okay.
We just talked about how marketing can be good for school districts. To be able to share the successes that the schools had in the community and really build community trust. A lot of times community doesn't really know what's going on, and then they just kind of listen to what they see online. And a lot of the talk was to try to take control of that.
That's exactly the same as what mine was.
Yeah. That way, you're controlling the narrative, you're not letting other people make things, and then you're keeping everybody warm, so it's like.
Well, I mean, and we have a strong stance that we don't engage on social media, so it's hard when you see people putting out partial truths or what they assume is the truth, and so that's why I think that it's a great idea that maybe you and I can collab and talk about what you learned and what I learned, and we can figure out as a board how to make a committee or something to, you know, put out some positive information, all the good stuff that's happened.
That would be great. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we have Facebook, Instagram, X. So that when we post on our website, it goes to all of those every single time. We have Sammer who's in charge. It's usually the administrators who post. Like I said, we hit one button and it goes to all of those things. When we changed over for the website a couple years ago.
Unfortunately, the stuff that is negative is usually on like neighborhood talk pages, and so that's the thing, and sometimes people don't follow. those
Yeah,
other
there's a lot more
things.
people following the neighborhood watch
Yeah.
page than there are.
That's why they had suggested like mailers and stuff, because then it would hit community members who maybe aren't following
Yeah.
the you know, like they
And-
wouldn't follow, they don't have children, so they're not looking at the Chicago Ridge,
Yeah.
you know, like school district page.
And we did that one mailer last year,
Yeah.
but I really like the idea of having data, because people who want to see the pictures of the kids are going to open that up and see
Yes.
it anyway. So I really like that idea.
One of the suggestions that was made, that one of the school districts was doing, they were working with a local. They were putting out like basically a newsletter
Mhm.
with information about data, everything.
Yeah.
But they work with local newspapers that do like the free newspapers that you
Mhm.
get.
Yeah.
And they worked out a deal so that we can include
Mhm.
our information into there, which reduces the cost of reaching out to everybody. Because they already have deals with the cities to provide this.
Yeah, what they had suggested if we did our own newspaper is that you ask businesses to take ads.
Mhm.
And that's, I was on newspaper at Richards, and that's kind of what you did if you were in the class or if you were an editor, you had to sell ads,
Mhm.
and that kind of funded it. But I know that we went to, I think it's called The Reporter, the place in
Yeah.
Palos, and that one of the programs, Quirk was one of them. I don't remember, this is, I'm dating myself here back in the day. But I'm not sure, and there's one on Microsoft as well. But I thought it'd be interesting if, you know, English classes wanted to take it on 8th grade, it could be a great thing to teach media writing. There's so much blogging going on and whatever. And still, like, even if you know, if you use X, you have a limited amount of characters, so newspaper writing is all about simple, short, but to the point. So I think I think that's a great idea, and even, what is the newspaper, is it what's the little thing that comes free, the penny saver, is that still a thing?
No. It's like that's definitely.
I don't know.
I think this is a great example of what we could use when there's a situation like we just recently had on the Neighborhood Watch. Where someone quoted information off of some news.
Data that came from 2021,
Yes,
22,
that
that
was
wasn't reflective of the
very
picture.
outdated, and although correct, we have made so many improvements. And for the CRSD 127.5 to post and say, thank you for bringing that to light. Here's the most current information, and show the rise that we've had in so many areas, and, you know, to be transparent and say, we do have deficits and this is what we're doing to work on it. And, you know, thank you for caring about your kids.
And I will push back on that. I think it's important to get that information out. I think you never want to respond to any of those posts ever. You'll never win as a district.
Okay.
So, but I do think we have to find ways to push the information out in other ways for sure. So,
I think some of the things that they stressed was like doing this not only builds like trust with the community, it informs them, educates them. But when things come up where we need to like raise taxes, or we're trying to build a new school, things like that, the community knows what we're doing, that they're more open to like accepting something when we're being very open with them and sharing.
Well, good school leads to good property value, you know, I mean, I'm not a math person, but 2 + 2 = 4. I mean, and so the idea is that if people think that we're not doing well, which is what that kind of showed, that's not exactly true. We've made vast improvements all over the place. If we look at MAP scores, if we look at other things, and we take the whole picture in. So I agree with Joy in the sense that it would be great to get that information out there. I don't love putting stuff on social media because keyboard warriors are vast. But I do believe that, I think that with all of our heads together, we all have the same vision. We have a great administrative staff who's working towards a shared improved goal for the district. And we have a high EL population, and we have a solid EL director who's making great improvements and connections with parents as well as students. And I just feel like, I think all of us could come up with something great to put out there, whatever form of media it may be.
Anything else about the conference?
I mean, there's more.
Okay, yeah.
You know, I
Bring it
mean,
on.
I mean, I'll make it short. I just, some of the other ideas that were talked about were, rebranding the district, especially if you're trying to like, not start from fresh, but like really like start like a new campaign. Rebranding the school, redoing the logos, the slogans, and then incorporating the logos to like be able to be used through different parts, divisions of the school district. Just gives everybody like a fresh look. It's kind of like a fresh start, really, you know, makes the community kind of feel like there's something fresh and new going on. You know, there's different ways to do it, but
Yeah.
that's the start.
Thank you, Tony. Anybody else?
But in the future, after the conference, we could like, we have like a study session after the conference, or I don't know, I just feel like we would feel like we're wasting everyone else's time, you know, sitting here and talking about it.
Well, they're the ones who are gonna be doing some of the work, so. I think it would just, yeah, I mean, we're always open to that. It's just finding the right time with the holidays and everything, and just making sure everyone can get there. So
Well,
that's the main
technically, we
thing.
could probably do it in the January or January.
There is a January study
We could
session.
probably vet it out more there if we wanted to.
Take your notes.
Text them to us.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. And
Oh, what, did anyone want to know about the voting stuff? I don't know.
No.
no,
It always is. There's always an intense debate
Yeah.
of people up and down and vetoing stuff and.
well, we appreciate you going there for us.
It was fun. There was like no seating and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Great. I'm gonna pass it over to Mrs. Nothnagel for the curriculum director's report.
State professional development plan. On January 6th, we'll have our next staff institute day. We're happy to announce that we're having Alex McNeese out again. He's been in the district several years in our winter institute day. He's been here for transforming and building school culture, but now he's going to present on behalf of his book, which is titled Research-Based Instructional Strategies and Practices to Engage Students and Get Kids to Learn love what they learn. So he'll be really presenting to the staff different instructional strategies that they can incorporate in their classrooms over the immediate next day to really get kids motivated and excited and engaged in the learning, which is something that we're trying to incorporate with the implementation of the resource, but still guiding the district's curriculum in-house by giving teachers that autonomy to differentiate their instruction to meet the students' needs using the resources that we've adopted and purchased. So on that 6th, all of the staff, pre-K through 8 will participate in that session with Alex, but then they'll also do different state mandated trainings like the Homeless Act training that we're required to do. Pre-K will do some things with their new creative curriculum resource. And we've got a variety of differentiated opportunities for them on that institute day. Then on the early dismissal in January, which is January 29th, we're actually having a presenter from the Illinois Resource Center. Her name is Carly Spina, and she'll be speaking with all of the staff on that early dismissal about instructional strategies specific for newcomer students. So we're really excited to have these continued paths for professional development that make sense for all staff to be a part of, because they'll see the connection, they'll be able to take something away from it, and then, like I said, implement in their classrooms the very next day. We'll also be planning, we've already planned out actually all of the early dismissals between now and the end of the year, incorporating things like co-teaching presentations to strengthen that as a district initiative in our a majority of our classrooms across the district specific to those EL and co-taught classrooms in special education. And then, HMH implementation with ELA strategies. And like I said, a variety of different opportunities based on the needs and different initiatives that we've been incorporating, curriculum planning and things like that. And then our last Institute Day of the year is already planned out. We're doing our April 1st Institute Day. That's the one that's from 8 to 1 of our staff. So we're gonna have 2 choice boards that the staff will engage in. One will be a self-care choice board to give them that ability to do some things for themselves as they go into the end of the school year, but then also a choice board, so different activities that staff can choose on learning, furthering their learning. So we have a co-teaching webinars from the SLD support project, which is a completely state funded program that we have been connecting with, partnering with. Autism spectrum disorder, through Infinitec, behavior management, Dreambox reading, Dreambox math. So it basically looks like a bingo board, and the staff can choose which one of those different learning opportunities they want to engage in on April 1st, so that they can end the year strong, or prepare themselves even for the next year. It's a nice opportunity for us.
Any questions for Megan?
6.2 other, I do not have any.
Thank you. All right, we're going to turn it over to Kathy for the Chief School Business Officials Report.
Okay, thank you. Just a couple of things this evening. 7.1 is our copier lease. For everyone, we know that copiers are very, very important to schools. So in March of 2025, our printer lease or copier lease with Delage and Image Tech will be expiring. And so we're looking to renew the copiers of our 6, what I'm calling mid-size machines. And those would actually be installed in January, hopefully over the winter break. That will be a 5-year lease. We would be looking to go through Delage, which is the company we went through 5 years ago. It's a Hewlett-Packard model. When we approached it this year after 5 years, we were not looking to start from scratch. The Hewlett-Packard seemed to be working, and instead of re-educating all the staff, we went with just the more current model of that. And so that monthly payment will be $1,265 a month for 5 years. And then Image Tech will also be doing the maintenance on that on an annual basis. The next thing is we had another successful health life safety visit. Representatives from the ROE came back in November, and very happy to report that 2 of the schools in the district office did not receive any citations. One school, I think they always have to find something. One school did have 2 minor violations, as Dr. Thorne stated earlier. The buildings, the classrooms cannot have rugs that are not approved for fire. And so that was quickly removed, and that was remediated. And then also we had a little bit of housekeeping in our garage. So that was also done. So we're going to get a clean bill of health from the health life safety, which is always good to hear. And I do have to always say our principals and our staff and our custodians really do a nice job at keeping our buildings safe, and they look really great. So thank you to everyone. And then my last item later in the meeting, we're going to be opening the hearing for the 24 tax levy. So I just have a couple of brief slides that I want to share with everyone. So that's when we talked about, we went through all the key terms we needed to understand. We talked about the assumptions, and we also presented to the board and the community the total levy amount. So the total tax levy by fund, we are mandated to share this with our community. So it's broken down by fund, and what we will be asking the Cook County clerk to extend us is $7,993,332. And we also need to share with the community and the Board of Education our current fund balances. As of July 1 of this year, we had $31,175,289. And as of November 30th, our fund balance is up to $34,536. 572,025. It's always higher this time of year because we have already received some tax receipts, but much of our expenses are due in the last part of our fiscal year. And that is short and sweet today. What we'll do is we'll have our hearing later in the meeting, and then we'll file with the clerk by the last Tuesday in December. And does anyone have any questions on that? Okay, thank you. That's all I got.
7.4 other.
Yeah, these are the potential board action to approve the following policies. These are the policies we went over last month. There were no questions we had to answer. They're just kind of legal updates that I would recommend we approve.
So that would be 8.1, potential board action to adopt or post for a second reading the board policies. I'll make the motion for second. Are we adopting?
We're adopting.
Okay,
So I was just gonna say, which are we doing with that?
So-
And then the
I would recommend we adopt them. We did the first reading last time. I would recommend we adopt them this meeting.
so I'll ask for a potential board action to adopt the board policies, please.
I will make the motion.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mrs. Burton. Aye. Mrs. Lamb. Aye. Mrs. Burrow. Aye. Mrs. Schroeder. Aye. Mr. Medina. Aye. Mrs. Rosa.
Aye.
Mrs. Strong.
Aye. 9.0 new business.
Public hearing.
Okay, so 9.1 is the public hearing on the tax levy. So I'm gonna open the hearing. Okay, so I'm opening the hearing at 7:38 PM. Is there anyone who would like to address the board regarding the 2024 tax levy? Normally it's 3 times, but it just says if necessary, 3 times. Okay. Is there anyone who would like to address the board regarding the 2024 tax levy? Is there anyone who would like to address the board regarding the 2024 tax levy? Joy, is that a hand? The hearing is now closed at 7:39 PM. Dyslexia's kicking in. Okay. All right, so we're gonna move on to 9.2, potential board action to adopt the 2024 tax levy in the amount of. Is that 7 million?
Yep.
$7,993,332. Thank you for the assist. The same amount as the approved tentative tax levy.
I'll make a motion.
A second.
I got Mr. Medina on the side.
It was a quiet one.
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Medina. Mrs. Burton. Aye. Mrs. Burton. Aye. Mrs. Strong.
Aye. 8.3, potential board action to approve the resolution authorizing the reduction of certain fund levies for the 2024 levy year.
Make a motion. A second. Mrs. Schroeder. Aye. Mrs. Burton. Aye. Mr. Medina. Mrs. Lamb. Aye. Mrs. Butler.
Aye.
Mrs. Burrow. Aye. Mrs. Strong.
Aye. And 9.4, potential board action to approve the 5-year copier lease with Delage Landon Public Finance LLC.
Make a motion.
Second.
Mrs. Lamb.
Aye.
Mrs. Burrow. Aye. Mrs. Butler.
Aye.
Mrs. Schroeder. Aye. Mrs. Burton. Aye. Mr. Medina. Aye. Mrs. Strong.
Aye. And then I think we don't have anything until 12.0, opportunity for visitors to speak. There are no visitors except for our admin, and then it is everyone's favorite time, 13.0, president's prerogative. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. I loved seeing all the families here. It was great. It was great doing it in this large space. Actually, I think it gave more people an opportunity to see and spread out, and I love that parents come and they're engaged in it. The sports that we have going on, the new adoption of the Lions Club, with Leo Club at the school, it's called, was done at the village. And it was great that we could be a part of that. I had the pleasure of being at the tree lighting ceremony and seeing the band play. I know the band is playing for the mayor's luncheon tomorrow, which I think is wonderful. And they're also playing at Chicago Ridge Mall on Sunday, as far as I know. So lots of great things going on, math engagement nights. I do like the idea of the little store, even though I don't wanna, people might not wanna send their kids at money. I thought it was a cute idea. Going into this kind of end of the year, so to speak, into winter break, it's always fun but stressful, trying to get grades together and this and manage, you know, like behavior and excitement for the holidays. So I wish all the staff and the administration luck on it. And, you know, I just hope that everyone has a joyous winter break and has a nice time to reset, relax. The administrators, everyone just has that time to, you know, be with family or whatever it is that you're going to do. And have a happy new year too. Okay, that's it.
And I must say, Griffin looks amazing as up. At
Oh.
the-
He
at
did.
the- how much she paid him, she goes, well, I did that my own way."
When I gave him the costume, he wore it to Pete's Produce with me and walked around. So it was an interesting day. So yeah, John's Way did a wonderful job.
Yes, they did.
So. And Santa will be coming on a fire truck for the residents this weekend, Saturday, if it doesn't pour, or Sunday. There'll be lots of Grinches and Santas, which has always been my favorite as a child, because I grew up in the Ridge and it always landed on my birthday. And so I felt like it was special for me and it's happening again. So
Nice.
thank
I
you very
recognize
much.
one of the Santas. It
Maybe.
was funny at the tree lighting, if you were upstairs when, the Grinch was walking around. And he stole Santa's, presents and, Chicago Ridge PD dragged him to the ground, handcuffed him, and dragged him in. It was very funny. It was. I was like, and the kids were like, "It was very cute to see that. So
I was not there for that. We were ice skating, but
it was just fun.
you know, the Grinch's heart grew, so I think everyone needs a break, all right?
Yeah.
So, all right, so thank you guys. So we are going to adjourn to closed session.
Yes, for the discussion of appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee of the public body or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity. However, a meeting to consider an increase in compensation to a specific employee of a public body that is subject to the Local Government Wage Increase Transparency Act may not be closed and shall be open to the public and posted and held in accordance with this act as defined in the Open Meetings Act, Section 2C1, the discussion of collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or their representatives, or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees as described in Section 2C2, the purchase or lease of real property for the use of the public body, including meetings held for the purpose of discussing whether a particular parcel should be acquired as defined in Section 2C5, the discussion of pending or probable and imminent litigation against, affecting, or on behalf of the district as defined in Section 2C11, and the discussion of minutes of prior meetings lawfully closed under the Open Meetings Act as defined in Section 2C21 for the purpose of review, approval, or release of such minutes. We do not plan on talking any security or student discipline during this closed session.
I'll make the motion.
Aye.
Mrs. Rose. Aye. Mr. Medina. Mrs. Lamb. Aye. Mr. Schroeder. Mrs. Burton. Aye. Mrs. Petrowitz.
Aye.
All right. Thank you, everyone.